a perfect picture. Been listening to that CD for 2 days. I'm about to pull up at McDonald's, so we'll have some service and you'll be able to see me better. I had the worst dreams last night. Nightmares. All night. I don't even know where that comes from. It probably comes from the Suboxone. I'm sweating like a whore right now. Let's cut this heat down. Monday fun day! Whoop whoop! I'm almost out of damn gas. Your bitch is about to be on the side of the road. 87 miles till empty. Mickey D's, Mickey D's. Give Wi-Fi to me. I kept going over in my head why they didn't charge me with a felony. And then it dawned on me. Oh, they weren't trying to lock you up, Brooke. They were trying to scare you. I just want to be clear that spitting on someone is a felony. It's a felony. It should be. It should be. It typically is. It typically is. If you were to walk into a Planet Fitness and hawk a loogie on their fucking manager, you're going to jail for a felony, just to be clear. But something that law enforcement does when they don't want to actually prosecute somebody, when they know somebody's innocent, but they want somebody to comply, aka they don't want homeless people living in the middle of Eden. They wanted me to leave. I told you guys, all the homeless people went missing. Make it make sense. It's election year. They're cleaning up the streets. Every city does it, from fucking California, Skid Row, to here, baby. They all do it. It's no secret that the majority of society shits on homeless people. Yeah, y'all do. Y'all do. And treat them like shit. Okay? So, it's just the fact. It's a fact. Y'all treat homeless people like shit. And I'm saying y'all because I don't know you. And I'm just going to lump you in with the majority of society because 99.9% of the time, I get treated like shit for merely existing because I can't afford $10,000 to move into a one-bedroom fucking apartment. First of all, that makes y'all crazy if y'all are paying those kind of rent. It says it's because of you that this economy is like this. Yeah, fun fact, if you weren't desperate for a fucking home, the housing market wouldn't have shot up because everybody was buying all at fucking once and everybody was scared that they couldn't get a house. Remember that? I remember that. That's when I stopped being able to afford rent. It was 3 years ago. Fuck, I had family that bought $500,000 fucking houses. 3-bedroom, $500,000 house. It's because of people like that that the housing market even looks like it does. They did a study. The study showed that homeless people, the majority of homeless people are actually homeless because they can't afford rent. It's not drugs. It's not alcohol. It's because they can't afford rent. There's been multiple studies done in the past 4 years, and all of those studies conclude the majority of homeless people are homeless because of economic reasons, not because of drugs and alcohol. So there's a little bit of information that most people don't know, and that's the truth. The truth is that most people that are living on the streets are on the streets because they simply cannot afford rent. Not because of drugs, not because of alcohol. Yes, that's a problem as well, and that's a good percentage. But the majority is because of economic reasons. They can't make ends meet with inflation and gas, and they can't afford the gas to get to a job every day that's not even paying them enough to pay for their car and their insurance and their gas. Do you see what I'm saying? People lose hope, they give up, and they just die. And it's really sad. But the truth is the majority of people that are homeless because they can't afford rent, not because of drugs and alcohol. I get sick of hearing the fucking lies. So let me be clear. There's been multiple studies, and when I say multiple, I mean a half dozen. Who I need to block? Who I need to block. So I was like, why didn't they charge me with a felony? Why? If I spat on somebody, you would think they would hit me with a felony, right? And then I was thinking, I said, Brooke, if they hit you with a felony, you'd lay for 10 years. That's why they didn't hit me with a felony. They know I'm not guilty. They know I didn't do anything wrong. I walked out of there and actually kept the fucking peace. That's why. Because they didn't want to lay me. It wouldn't stick. And they know that I'm going to be telling the fucking internet if they did some shit like that. So the way that it works in the state of North Carolina, if you get 3 felonies, it don't matter what they are. It could be an assault with a deadly weapon. We'll just go off of my record, what I already have. I have 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon inflicting serious injury with intent to kill. I have 1 count of felony possession of heroin. That's 3 felonies right there. However, 2 of those felonies were compiled together in my original charges back in 2009. So those count as 1 case. The felony possession of heroin, that would be 2 cases. If they would have charged me with a felony, they could have laid me down for 10 years. That means that I would have went to maximum security prison for shit that I yet again did not do for up to 8 to 10 years. This came to me in a dream last night. I just need to say that I woke up thinking about this and I was like, why didn't they charge me with a felony? If you think that I really spit on somebody, why not charge me with a felony? Because you know I didn't. That wasn't what this was about. This was to get me out of Eden, off of the Carpinos, and out of the city. I mean, I genuinely don't. Every person that I've ever come in contact that spat on somebody received a felony. This is the first time I've ever heard in my entire life, and I've known some criminals. This is the first time in my entire life that I've ever heard supposedly someone spat on someone and ended up with a fucking misdemeanor. That should tell you all that you need to know. But, you know, this is why I talk about these things, because I recognize that the majority of civilization doesn't understand how the court system actually works. You're actually innocent until you're proven guilty. And the majority of people that are actually in prison that have had crime after crime after crime after crime, I'm willing to bet that up to 30% of those people are actually innocent for crimes that they didn't commit at a later time. Yeah, they might have committed a crime when they were 20, but by 30, they're getting locked up for shit that they never even fucking did because they made poor choices when they were 18 or 19. All it takes is one fucking conviction. One conviction, and there's a good chance you'll be charged with crimes you didn't commit later in life. Because of one conviction. Even if it's 20, 30, 40 fucking years. If you have a domestic violence dispute with your girlfriend at 18 and she accuses you of punching her in the face and you get charged with that and go to prison and then get out for DV, fast forward 10 years, you get a new girlfriend and that bitch and you are arguing and all she does is call the cops. She didn't say you hit her. She didn't say that you put hands on her. All she did was call the cops. And there you go off again for more domestic violence fucking charges. And that's the reality of the court system, the legal system, and how dumb cops are getting. They don't even ask questions anymore. I was not even notified of these charges until 5 days later. Y'all don't think y'all should have called me and asked me what the fuck happened? I could have gave you the video and showed you. I recorded the whole thing. I wish that I could talk to this district attorney. I just want to be like, oh, did you see the video? And she's going to be like, what? What video? Oh, no, you should have a copy of the video. Since I spit on somebody, there's a whole video of it. Don't you got the video? And she's going to think I'm talking about the Planet Fitness video. Where's that, too? Where's the Planet Fitness video? There's cameras all over that motherfucker. You think they got that? No. I just find it crazy that someone can blatantly lie and I go to jail for things I didn't do. I mean, bold-faced lies. Bold-faced fucking lies. But that's the reality of my fucking life. It's done happened multiple times. I don't know why I still get fucking shocked. So it says a habitual felon is someone who has been convicted or pleaded guilty to at least 3 felony offenses in any state or federal court. North Carolina's habitual felon law, also known as the three-strike law, increases penalties for felonies committed by habitual felons. In North Carolina, a habitual felon sentence is 4 felony classes higher than the principal felony, unless the sentence would be higher than a C felony. My attempted murder charges were Class B charges. The sentences are run consecutively. That means one after another, bitch. That doesn't mean concurrent. They gon' flow. Consecutively is a 4-year sentence after a 4-year sentence after a 4-year sentence after a 4-year sentence. Concurrently would be a 4-year sentence compiled on top of a 4-year sentence compiled on, and you would only do 4 years. Like, say you got 3 4-year charges. Instead of doing 12 years, you'll only do 4. And that's concurrent. Consecutively is one after another. What makes you a habitual felon in North Carolina? Persons defined as habituals, any person who has been convicted or pled guilty to 3 felony offenses in any federal or state court. I'm one away. So why wouldn't you charge me with felony assault? If I actually spit on somebody, why not charge me with a felony? So it says usually a misdemeanor assault or battery charge. It says in cases spitting on someone can be charged as a low-level felony. Penalties are often more severe if the victim was a minor or a public servant, or if the offense was repeated. North Carolina law combines assault and battery into one offense, unlike other states that distinguish between the two. Assault is when someone tries to make physical contact with another person in a violent way without permission. Battery is a successful physical assault. What they charged me with? Battery and communicating threats. Assault. Simple assault and communicating threats. Imagine someone threatening to whoop your ass and you walk away and you go to jail. That's what happened. It's just fucking unbelievable. So I'm at 30 days in fucking jail for simple assault. And actually, that'll be tripled because I'm already a fucking felon. So, because I'm I think I'm a level 2. Let me look at the leveling system. I got a level 2 violent offender. You would think, motherfucker, just leave me alone, right? Oh, fuck, y'all. I'm like a 5. What the fuck? It's the reverse. Level 1 is 0 to 1 points. Level 2 is 2 to 5. Level 6 is 6 to 9. I'm probably a 5 or a 6. And I might be more than that, if I'm honest. And it goes up to a 7. So, it's not good. Not good. They could probably lay me for 2 years for this bullshit. What they're planning to do, what they will do, is offer me probation so that they can get money out of me. Because it's cheaper to leave me on the streets where I'm productive and I can rack up court fines, fucking all this money for them, okay? Probation and parole every month is $150 fucking dollars. Restitution, court costs. That's what they want. They would rather put you on probation, make you pee in a fucking cup, make you jump through fucking hoops for shit you didn't do, once again, and then throw you in fucking in. A person convicted of a violent felony and being a violent habitual felon will be sentenced to prison without parole. Now just imagine if it was a case like mine, where you genuinely did not do anything fucking wrong, and you're hemmed on more felony fucking charges for shit you didn't do, and then you go to prison. I'm telling you guys, it happens every fucking day, and I'm willing to bet that it's somewhere between 20 and 30% of previously incarcerated inmates that are additionally hit with charges later in life that they did not do. I've had it happen twice. What are the chances? What are the chances? That means that 20 to 30% of my criminal career, I didn't do. Let's say I've had 10 charges. 3 out of those 10 charges, I didn't do. And those 7 charges were prior to this 8-year streak of no trouble that I've had. I haven't been in any trouble since 2016. This is crazy. And I think it was 2018 because I got possession of heroin. Sorry. I'll relate back to my daughters, you know, because that was really when it began. Like, the fake charges. 2016. What are the chances? Let's see here. Hold on one second. A person who is sentenced under North Carolina habitual felon law will receive a sentence at a level 4 classes higher than the principal felony in which they were convicted, but no higher than a C-class felony, which is punishable by up to 231 months in prison. How many is 231 months? Ain't that like 8 years? 231 months. $19 years? Bitch, am I not adding right? Where's my add button? Oh my Lord. Take me to the school. I don't know where my keys are. 21 months into years? 19 and a half years. What did I fucking say? 8? It used to be 8. If they laid you on 10 years ago, you was laying for 10 to 8. This says 19 fucking years. Wonderful. Just wake up all kinds of fucking fears. Like, these assholes. What a piece of shit. I didn't even recognize this. I'm still proud of myself. Job. I walked away. I did the right thing. And I'm proud of myself. And nobody is going to change about it. Because at the end of the day, these little dumb fucks that work in Planet Fitness were so fucking jealous that they just had to pick a fight over fucking something. Had to pick a fight. You got your fight, bitch. And you're going to have another one on your hands when we show up to motherfucking court. I can promise you that. So, it does say that it's a misdemeanor. And it says that it's punishable by 30 days in jail. For those with prior convictions, the punishment could be up to 60 in jail. And for a level like me, I'm willing to bet that they would throw my ass under the jail for a year for something I didn't fucking do. So it looks like for different states, different classes. So North Carolina, you can be charged with a low-level felony. It's still a fucking felony. I hate when they say that's a low-level felony. Bitch, when I go to get hired in 8 years, they still ain't gonna care. I can promise you that. It's still gonna show up as a motherfucking felony. It doesn't matter if it's lower or fucking an A. Matter. Some states, it's felony, which is what I assumed. I'm thinking about downloading that video and taking it off the internet. I'd rather leave the district attorney turning her fuckles wondering what evidence I have that she doesn't. Seriously. Just can't wait to ask her, oh, so you saw the video? I was just making sure you saw the video. Yeah, I recorded the whole thing. Let's see how much evidence you have that when I have a fucking video, you dumbass. It'd be one thing if they charged me with, like, I don't know, that's not even a charge. When I fucking hit the drink, it'd be one thing. Like, what is that? I don't even know. I mean, it's not destruction of property. You can't charge me with that. I didn't damage anything. The drink was mine. It made a mess. There's nothing you can even charge me with. So what, y'all just sat around and made up some shit? What can we say that she done? What can we say that she done? Oh, we'll say that she spit on us. Bitch, do you not know who the fuck I am? I use hands. I don't use spit. If I was gonna whoop your ass, I would have whooped your ass and left you and your fat little fuck of a friend high on pills laying there dead. But I didn't. I walked away. I ain't never in my entire life spit on anybody. I don't fight that way. I fight with these. And my feet. Okay? Just to be clear. It's just crazy the type of you know, I walked out of there. I left, and I even told the dumb bitch, I said, I'll be at McDonald's. Tell the cops I'm at McDonald's. Do you think for the cops called me? Do you think for a moment they came by? Do you think for a moment that they even made contact with me to figure out what happened during this scenario? No. They just believed heads that run Planet Fitness. How did I go through all of the trouble of getting clean, getting myself on track, getting in the right frame of fucking mind, starting to heal from trauma, and then all of a sudden, all meth heads and fucking pill heads of the world are running businesses now, and they can just call the cops and lie, and I go to jail for shit I didn't do. I just don't understand what is going on in the world anymore. It's very disheartening. Very, very disheartening. Because it's very clear there was not only legal shit going on in there, but it's very clear to me that there was people using drugs in Planet Fitness. Now, whether she did them before she got to work or not is none of my fucking business. But the bitch was high, falling asleep in front of me. It's a Class C felony, assault with a weapon inflicting serious injury. If the assault was with intent to kill and resulted in serious injury, the presumptive sentence is 58 to 72 months. With a minimum of 44 months and a maximum of 98 months. If there are prior convictions, the sentence can increase to 182 months. I got very lucky. I got very, very lucky. And it's no question how I got lucky. It was money. That $78 that I spent on an attorney to represent me on 36 different charges when I was 18, if it were not for that, I would probably still be in prison. Ain't that sad? It's fucked up. It's not fair. I'll tell you that. Oh, God. When a habitual felon is defined, it's any felony under the laws of the state of North Carolina. The felon must, upon conviction or plead guilty under indictment as provided in this article, blah, 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 to be sentenced as a felony class, except felon has been sentenced to a class A, B, B2, or C felony. And here it says that it can be an E. The state must therefore present evidence proving, among other things, that the accused intentionally assaulted the alleged victim through use of a deadly weapon inflicting serious bodily injury. Where? Is it? Where'd it go? Where did you go? So it says assault with a deadly weapon inflicting serious injury is characterized by an assault or battery resulting in the serious bodily injury where the defendant did use a deadly weapon to commit the assault. So that'd be a knife, a gun, a crowbar, brass knuckles, a center block, a brick, anything, bitch. They can charge you with assault with a deadly weapon, inflicting serious injury with anything. It doesn't matter if it's a damn coffee cup or an ashtray. You hit somebody and it causes serious injury, you're going to be sitting under a $250,000 bond. It says assault with a deadly weapon can be charged as a Class E felony if there was serious injury, but it can go all the way up to a C. The closer you get to A, the closer you get never seeing another day of sunlight. And that's what killed me. When they charged me with those assault with a deadly weapon, they charged me with intent. I was like, I don't even know these bitches. Why would I want to kill them? Like, it was a stupid fight. It was a drunk party fight. Like, it says serious injury, although not defined in the criminal statute. An injury is considered a serious injury if it requires medical attention. And both of them girls, one of them got life flighted to fucking one of the hospitals, and then the other one had to ride to the hospital. It says whether or not the victim receives medical treatment. It says intent to kill. This means that the person who committed the assault intended to kill the victim, and the intent can be established through their circumstances of the crime. This can include threats, other words, or prior angry incidents between these persons and victims. Well, that's why it was dropped down to assault with a deadly weapon, because they couldn't prove that I had intent to kill these bitches. I never was trying to kill them. We was fighting. It was a fight. Like, so it says Class E, this offense is punishable to 15 to 31 months in prison, but a judge must justify the sentence if he deviates from the pursuant offense of between 20 to 25 months. In addition, if there are prior convictions, the prison sentence can be extended up to 36 months. Class C felony. A Class C felony conviction can result in a prison sentence of 4 to 98 months, 72 months, and the sentence can be increased to 182 months if there are prior convictions. I got so lucky. But once again, there was mitigating circumstances. Everybody in town, the cops, everybody, that was my hometown. It was Alamance County. Everybody knew that my parents were dead. Everybody knew that I had no guidance. Everybody knew that I was on drugs. They knew anybody try to guide me back towards the light? Fuck no. They was standing there ready to lock my ass up before I was even fucking an adult. You know what I mean? It's like when the cops know that you have no parental guidance and you're a street kid and you're homeless, they fuck with you even more. They want you to become part of the system. So before I even committed crimes, I already had the cops down my fucking throat trying to charge me with crimes. I was part of a system before I was even an adult. I'm talking 14 years old, you know? So I was thinking about something this morning. I had a gun at 14 and a half. I'll leave that there. It was a different world back then. That's all I know how to say. I mean, I know it's bad now, but things was different back then. And my high school was ski. Ben L. Smith. I need to get gas before I run out. I don't know why I woke up stressed about this, but I did. It pisses me off. That's why. I'm not stressed about it. I'm annoyed. It's like, how can y'all be this dumb? And they are, honey. They are. They're dumb as a box of rocks. Dumb as a box of rocks. Wouldn't even know what evidence was if it smacked them in the fucking face on a floppy disk. I might do that. I mean, I'm definitely going to consult a lawyer and be like, what's our best motive? What's our best route? Like, but he's court appointed, so we'll see what he fucking says, or her. All I know is I'm going to grab it. If he ain't talking no sense, I'm going to have to him up and be like, listen here, you little shit. I ain't pleading shit to shit. There's a fucking video that disputes these charges. If you know how to do your damn job, do it. If you don't, then get out of my way and I'll fucking represent myself. I'm going to be... Ain't that sad? There was a girl when I was in jail. She fired her attorney on the spot and asked the judge if she could represent herself. He said, absolutely, let's handle this. You've been sitting here for 60 days. Let's handle it. He gave her fucking time served. She got the following Friday. Her lawyer was trying to make her plead to a fucking sentence. She fired his ass. She said, Your Honor, can I fire him and handle this myself today? The judge said, yeah. If she would have her attorney, she would be in Raleigh for the next year and a half. Because she fired her attorney and represented herself, and she had been sitting in jail for over 60 days, the judge gave her time served. Her attorney was trying to make her agree to a 2-year, it was 13 months in Raleigh. And then I ain't doing it. And fired him. This was in Rockingham County 2 weeks ago. So that tells me all I need to know about the current state of representation with court-appointed attorneys in Rockingham County. Most of court-appointed attorneys, they're overworked, underpaid, full caseloads. They got double the damn cases that they should have. They can't, I mean, rationally, you don't have enough mental capacity to deal with 100 damn cases and know them in and out. I think that that's wrong. I think that that's wrong. I think that they should... I don't know what my phone's doing. I think that when these court-appointed attorneys are representing people, that it should be mandatory that they have enough time to damn represent people. Somebody wrote on Reddit that appointed attorneys are usually good. Bless your heart. Bless your heart. I'm willing to bet your public defender don't know your fucking name until they look at your file. They don't even know who they showing up to represent till they get to the courthouse, bitch. They didn't even pull those files. They show up with a damn caseload of files. They didn't pull those. Their paralegal pulled those. They don't even know until they court who they're representing that fucking morning. That's how overworked and underpaid they are, and how many cases they have. Our court systems are failing. I mean, it's no secret. The whole justice system could fall off into the fucking Atlantic Ocean. And it'd probably do us a service point and just start over from fucking scratch. And it's only going to get worse. You know, you would think with the Innocence Project out here, you know, going to bat for inmates and like the Daryl Hunt Foundation and people like that. Unfortunately, though, there's not enough good people fighting the good fight. It's only a couple of them, and I can only think of 2. So if we have hundreds of thousands of inmates that are actually innocent, nothing's going to change. It's just going to... There's nobody out here to help these people. It's a fucked up system. And if it didn't happen to me twice, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at mentally. You know, it was bad enough in 2016. But I think I'd forgotten. So maybe that's why God allowed this to happen. Because I needed to remember. I needed to remember what they're capable of. And now I remember. Now I remember. I forgot. You know, after 2016... I chose to go get back on because I felt like my life was over. The state had taken the only thing that I ever loved for something I didn't even do. And when I told them, you know, the circumstances, they wouldn't even listen to me. And that's another thing that I needed to remember, how I couldn't even get a word in, how I couldn't explain myself, how I wasn't allowed to discuss what went down. I was never allowed to tell my side of the story. That's not all right. That's not okay. And the same thing just happened at Planet Fitness. They held a warrant for 4 days. First of all, woke me up in the fucking middle of the night. They didn't want me to go live until that I was going to jail. But they did the same thing. They never called me, asked me what happened at Planet Fitness. They just assumed that this lady, I don't know. I don't know what they assumed. But this thing happened in 2016. They didn't, you know, it's just crazy that you can be charged with crimes and you can't even defend yourself against those crimes. You can't say, that was not me, I didn't do that. You're not, like, I don't even know how to put it into words. It's just a fucked up system. And it's kind of crazy that anybody can call the law and say, I hit him and I'm going to jail. That's exactly what just fucking happened. That is exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened in 2016 too. And nobody said I hit him back then. Actually, my daughter said, my mommy didn't hit me. My mommy's never hit me. Quote, end quote. Just to be clear. Never spanked my daughter. Ever. I've never spanked a child. I've never hit a child. Never had to. Never had to. I grew up in an abusive home, and because of that, I don't believe in corporal punishment. My daughter never got spanked. My daughter never got hit. She never got her arm broke. Like, it's just crazy. And that's another thing. Like, people just lie. Y'all are just a bunch of fucking liars. Y'all just come on here and just fucking lie. I hope you know you're going to burn in hell. It's a sin. Just to be clear. Hope you have a great day, Wade. Be safe out there. Yeah, I just block them because YouTube loves the drama. That's YouTube. YouTube allows the bullying because I guess they want, what's that old saying? Any news is, no, what is that? Any publicity is good publicity. YouTube needs to fix some shit for sure. Y'all, did y'all see Ruby Franke's daughter testify? Well, I don't think she testified. She came out. Hold on one second. So it's Ruby Franke's oldest daughter. For those that don't know who Ruby Franke is. Ruby Franke was this social media queen who had a family, and she vlogged her whole family. And so she had multiple children that she would put on camera and post on YouTube. Well, this was going on for years. Ruby started her channel. When did her channel open? So it was called Passengers. So it was 8 of them, mother, father, and 6 children. She had a business partner, Jody Hildebrandt. I hope I'm saying that right. Julie was helping Ruby run the channel. Her daughter came out and spoke. I don't know where it was. I don't know if it was. I can't find the year they opened their channel, but she had it for about 10 years. Oh, so Ruby Frank's daughter addresses, it's her eldest daughter, Sherry, and she addressed Utah, talking about how her mother abused her and how it was unnatural the way that she grew up because she was on camera and her whole life was on display. Not only that, I do believe the children were homeschooled and they were not receiving the education that they could have, but I could be wrong. In my opinion, that is a telltale sign of abuse. When you have that many children and none of them are actually doing curriculum at home, and mother is saying, oh, we homeschool, but the children are actually not learning any curriculum at home. So it says, YouTube creator Ruby Frank, this was her, I'm sure y'all know. So it says, the shocking criminal case of Ruby Frank, the once popular momfluencer who is now behind bars for child abuse, is the subject of a upcoming made-for-TV movie. It's going to be called Mormon Mom Gone Wrong, the Ruby Frank story, and it's going to be premiering on October 26th at 8 p.m. on Lifetime. The dramatized account stars Emily Utterlow as Frank and Heather Locklear as her real-life family counselor, Jody Hildebrandt. So it sounds like she was an in-home therapist. Julie Hildebrandt, therapist. Whoa. She was sentenced to up to 30 years. Ruby Frank and Jody Hildebrandt sentenced to up to 30 years in prison for child abuse case. Whoa. So it says, parenting YouTube Ruby Frank and her biz partner Jody Hildebrandt, who pleaded guilty to child abuse charges that stem from one of Frank's children escaping Hildebrandt's house in August to beg neighbor for help, have been sentenced to prison. Each could serve up to 30 years in Utah. Frank has been sentenced to 4 consecutive prison terms. Once again, that's one after another, which could range from 1 to 15 years each. Y'all, if this bitch gets out in 4 years, y'all do y'all understand? She could get out in 4 years. Because there's not a time range on each of those sentences. It says 1 to 15 years each. So she could spend 60 years in jail, or she could spend 4 years in. But let's just lock up Brooke for more crimes she didn't commit. I don't fucking understand. I don't. I'll never will. Hildebrandt received the same sentence of 4 consecutive prison terms, which could again range from 1 to 15 years. And it says this will be determined by the Utah Board of Pardons and Paroles. So it says Frank, who gave her parenting advice, on her now channel, 8 passengers, and Hildebrandt, who operated a counseling business called the Connections Classroom, were each charged with 6 counts of aggravated child abuse and a second-degree felony, which carried a potential penalty of 1 to 15 years in prison. While reading the sentencing recommendations, State Prosecutor Eric Clark compared the environment Frank's children faced to a concentration camp-like setting. She committed horrible acts of child abuse. While addressing Hildebrandt's charges, Clark called her a, quote, significant threat to the community. So it says, in December, Frank pled guilty to 4 counts of abuse and admitted that she tortured her children. Including the now 12-year-old boy who escaped Hildebrandt's home. In the plea agreement, which contained graphic details of abuse, Frank said her son was often kept bound and that her 9-year-old daughter was made manual labor outside in the hot sun with no water or shoes. Both of the children were often told they were possessed and that their punishments were necessary to help them. The boy, who was 12, told officials that Hildebrandt had tied him up and used home remedies to treat the wounds caused by the restraints. As part of a plea deal, Franke agreed to serve a prison term and agreed that her sentences would run consecutively. Why? Why? Oh, my mind. Concurrently broke. Shit. Okay, I get it. Sorry, I thought it was the other way. I get consecutive and concurrent mixed up sometimes. Sorry. Hildebrandt also pled guilty just days after Franke to 4 counts of child abuse. Her plea agreement stated that she either tortured the children or was aware of the abuse. The agreement also stated that Hildebrandt either physically forced or coerced Franke's daughter into jumping into a cactus multiple times. This is from the prosecutor. Sorry. Jesus, I'm done. The case is about religious extremism. The defendants appear to have fully believed that the abuse they inflicted was necessary to teach the children how to properly repent for imagined sins and to cast the evil spirits out of their body. What the fuck is wrong with people? These are children. Says, prior to Franke's arrest in August of 23, many knew the Utah mother of 6 as a charismatic social media personality. But away from the camera, her behavior became much more sinister than anyone imagined. It was discovered that Hildebrandt had inflicted horrific mental and physical abuse onto her children, subjecting them to starvation, confinement, and other hideous acts. It says, Franke, who is 42, is now serving up to 3 decades in prison for her role in the crimes. It won't happen. She'll be out in less than 10 years. Tell me how I fucking know. Mark my words. And when it happens, nobody's going to say shit. They're going to be like, oh, yay, she's getting out of prison. Let's just be clear. 1 to 15 years times 4 could either be a 4-year sentence or a 60-year sentence. Depends on how busy, how overpopulated, and how understaffed that prison is, what that prison sentence ends up being. And if it's anything like North Carolina, honey, she'll be out in less than 10 years. You know, this right here where you have children that are actually coming forward saying, my mommy did this to me, you need to take every single account serious. So their oldest daughter, Sherry, come out. And Sherry, it looks to be, she was at TikTok. Jesus Christ, Brooke. It looks like she was at Congress or something. But it's in Utah. And she talks about...
family vlogging. Yeah. My goal is to present an idea of a solution to this problem, but to shed light on the ethical and monetary issues that come from being a child influencer. Children from before they are born to the day they turn 18 have become the stars of family businesses on YouTube, Instagram, and other social media platforms. Many child influencers are paid for their work, as I was, and this money has helped me in my adult life. However, this payment was usually a bribe. For example, we'd be rewarded $100 or a shopping trip if we filmed a particularly embarrassing moment or an exciting event in our lives. But despite any monetary payment children receive, don't let this excuse the 24/7 labor that these children are subjected to. Family vlogging ruined my innocence long before Ruby committed a crime. I promise you that my experiences are not unique and are happening to child influencers all over Utah and the country.
So she went and she said, this is wrong. We need to pass laws to prevent parents from filming their children and making monetary gain off of it. She says that her childhood, she was only rewarded in her childhood when she would, like, hypothetical, like, there would be a huge event in her life, and if she would agree to film it for the channel, then she might be rewarded for that. But she talks about how she lost her innocence, how she was exposed to things that she shouldn't have been exposed to, how she had to grow up quicker. She talks about how filmed how she had no privacy, how she didn't have a normal childhood. I don't know why it's not considered abuse. I mean, psychologically speaking, it's not rocket science to determine that it is not good for early childhood development for children to be exposed to social media. It's not rocket science. We don't need to live through that to make that conclusion. It's common sense to know that social media is not good for children. It's not good for their development. It's not good for their brain. Plain and simple. So, and she talked about that, and I'm surprised that there's not more concrete laws against these family channels. There is one with a girl and her mother that do nothing but splits. Not only is it very clear to me how this mother is racking up all of these views, but in my opinion, it's explicit. I'm not going to show it, but it is very explicit. And it's sad. And that's socially acceptable. Millions of weird perverts looking at a 5, 6, 7-year-old with her mother doing provocative stuff. It's sick. It's absolutely sick. I wonder how many views they have on there. I'm not going to show it, but I am going to see how many views it has. Here's one that has 6.6 million views of 2 toddlers. And I can't exactly find the... It's one main channel, and that's all of their content. I mean, every freaking video is... I can't find the channel, but there's one that I see that has 6.5 million views. It's just crazy. It's just, you know, these children, they're going to grow up and they're either going to be buck-ass wild or the complete opposite, and they're going to look back at their childhood and be like, what was my parents thinking? That's logical, but sometimes, I guess, if you grow up in that environment where your parents don't have any respect for you and they're essentially pimping you out to the internet, then you'll probably grow up fucked up in the head thinking that it's perfectly natural to have a fucking OnlyFans. It's just crazy. But people call me crazy. But I'll be damned if I ever had my daughter on the internet with her ass out. Sick bitches. But that's okay. YouTube promotes that bad behavior. YouTube, they want that. They know the weirdos are out here and they promote it. I had to put my window cover up. It fell. Maybe. Oh, sorry, I'm freezing. I ain't got no bra on. I'm trying to like, Jesus, get the heat going. Let's go get some gas real quick before I run out, because it says like 60 miles. I think I've got like $10 to my name. I can't do nothing about it. I'm doing the best I fucking can. It's a miracle that I'm even sane after everything been through. Oh, God. Fuck the police, you fucking pigs. You ain't shit. You'll never be. And you're gonna burn in hell locking people up for crimes they didn't commit, you fucking pig. The parking lot. Why did you let this happen twice? Seriously. And the only thing I can think of is that, remember 6 months ago I didn't hate the cops? I was like, oh, they're not all bad. Well, how do we feel about that now? How do we feel about them now? Maybe God needed to refresh my memory since I had forgotten everything. It's the only thing I can think of. He wanted me to remember what they did to me back in 2016. What they did to my daughter. What they did to my daughter. The state abused my daughter more than I could ever even fucking imagine or begin to. The police department, social services, they inflicted abuse on my child, not me. Just to be clear. Just to be clear. They took a happy home and destroyed it over jealousy, racism, self-loathing. I don't know what else she had going on. All I know is that she was evil. All of them. Alamance County ain't no joke either. If you know, you know. They call it No Chance Alamance. That's the town slogan. No Chance Alamance. Protect and serve my ass. Destroy and fucking lie. But you know, that's why I started a channel. Because I'm this horrible, evil mass murderer. Let me tell ya. I'm this horrible person. Oh my God, whatever will I do? Not burn in hell, I'll tell you that much. Not burn in hell. It's crazy. It's just crazy. I would love to talk to rational inmates that were actually charged with crimes that they did not commit, because I know that it happens more now than people want to admit. We don't even have numbers on it. We don't even have studies on it. How many people died, were executed for shit they didn't do? Happens every day. All you need is that one charge. It doesn't matter what it's for. After that, you're guilty. No matter what people say, you're guilty. And the cops will charge you. And then you'll go to jail for crimes you didn't do. I wonder how many people committed a crime when they were 18, 19, 20, 25, stayed out of trouble, and then all of a sudden gets charged with fake crimes just based off the fact that they were charged with one real crime prior, years before. But because of that, it leads to other fucking charges that are actually false. I'm willing to bet that 20 to 30% of people that have been charged with multiple crimes have at least one false crime on their record. And I'm talking about people that have bounced in and out, which is typically what we see. And the reason that we see that is because there are no programs. There is no reform. There are no... I watched something yesterday and it was talking about how all these inmates were receiving this drug treatment in prison. Bullshit! Bullshit. 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 They don't receive shit in prison. Them motherfucking teachers that are teaching drug treatment, they're dumber than the fucking inmates. And that's a fact. I'm not trying to be ugly. I'm being for real. You're talking about correctional officers that didn't even go to school to become a correctional officer. It ain't like they got a fucking 2-year degree in dealing with inmates, bitch. They literally are the bottom of the barrel. Most correctional officers, that was the last choice. They qualified, so they just fucking hired them. I wish I were joking. Like, they tried everything else. They tried McDonald's. They tried construction. None of that worked out. So they're like, fuck it, let me do this 6-week course and see if I can get hired by the county jail. At least that's a state job. Swear to God on my life, they ain't never fucking took one class on how to deal with anybody. And that's a necessity in my opinion. There's another motherfucker. Fuck you, you fucking pig. Fucking cocksucker. They don't have any training process. They don't have any kind of schooling, education. Now, back in the day, they did. When I was a juvenile, Mr. Covington, I hope you're doing well. Miss you, love you. There's a sergeant. Well, I don't know if he's in Raleigh anymore. But y'all know I did time as a juvenile and as an adult. Well, when I was in San Marcan Youth Development Camp, there was a sergeant named Mr. Covington who worked in the drug rehab so when I was in San Marcan, I got my sentence extended for escaping. I escaped. I was gone, bitch. Crack of dawn. We run at dawn. So I escaped. I got my sentence doubled, and then I got into 2 different fights, and my sentence got doubled. So every incident is an additional 6 months. But when I was there, Mr. Covington said, you should do the drug program. Well, I hadn't really ever did drugs at that point. Like, I don't think I'd ever even smoked pot at that point. I was 14. I don't think that I may have drank once, but like, I wasn't. Anyways, he said you should do the drug program. So I did the drug program so that I could leave. Mr. Covington was over the drug program, so I worked with him extensively. He's a great officer with tons of education. He went to college, got a degree, and then landed up in law enforcement. Great. We love that. When I went to prison in 2009, I ran into Mr. Covington. He was then working in a women's prison. Great officer. He's had a full 30-year fucking, probably longer than that, 30-year career. He started off with juveniles. He got educated when it came to counseling, therapy, the ins and outs, psychologically speaking, of what an inmate is, okay? What they're going through, what they're going to be dealing with. Like, those things are imperative to prison reform. Those things are imperative to inmate reform, okay? If we want to see change, we have to focus on the source of the fucking problem. Why are people behaving like this? Why are they committing crimes? Why do they feel the need to be wrapped up in this shit? Nothing's changing, okay? Because the inmates are now COs and the COs are inmates. Do you see what I'm saying? Nobody's educated. Everybody's up in the evil. It's crazy to see an actual officer that got training and education. I've met him. I extensively lived with one for 2 years as a juvenile and then another 2 years as an adult. I know what a good officer looks like. And it ain't damn Becky over here with the nice hair that didn't even fucking finish high school going through 6 weeks of CO training through the county. And then y'all were like, well, we don't know why she brought drugs into the inmates. Because she needed to be an inmate herself, bitch. She was an inmate before y'all hired her. She's a criminal. Working as a CO. Imagine. I mean, hell, in my opinion, half of law enforcement are fucking crooks. How many officers have I reported on just in the past week that were caught messing with motherfucking children? Let me go pay for this gas before I run out. Oh, God. Whew, where's my jacket? Damn it. The damn pump just cut off. Every time I come to this gas station. Oh, it hurts. Oh, I can't wait to get to Florida. You know, the crazy thing is when you go to a state where there's actual criminals and, like, it's not a small town where people are bored, They leave you alone because the cops are smart down there and they know that I'm not a criminal. How come I didn't have any problems when I lived in Jacksonville? Makes no sense. None. I got 4 gallons for $12. Jesus! $4.2 gallons for $12. Shit. I guess this bitch gonna run on hopes and dreams. I'm hungry. My head kind of hurts. Where's the glasses? Hey, boy. Where is my glasses? What the frick? I'll never forget. I said, I'm not getting out the car unless you got a warrant. The night that they woke me up, these motherfuckers started smiling and said, oh, we actually do have a warrant. Like, it was fucking funny. Like, that's how you know that they've been after you for some bullshit. When they show up smiling. Like, bitch, you act like you know me personally. You act like I fucking broke your heart. Like, for real. What a pussy. You know how big of a bitch you have to be to try to fuck with somebody that don't fuck with nobody? I mean, it's like high school. Like, you're literally trying to go after the weakest link. Like, what you think this is? I'm not weakest link, honey. I hate to tell you, just because I don't fuck with nobody don't make me weak. It makes me smart. It makes me a good person. I mean, y'all don't understand the level of evil that you have to be to fuck with somebody who ain't trying to do nothing but help other people. It's because they're bitches. It's because they're bitches. Grown-ass motherfucking men that act like little petty-ass bitches. Ain't that sad? I'm so glad I'm me. Because I could have ended up being one of them little bitches. You know what I mean? Every time you see a cop, just be grateful you ain't a bitch like them. Be grateful you got a conscience, ho. Be grateful. Because you could have ended up being a fucking corrupt fucking police officer. Any day that you're not a cop, you're better than most. Like, for real. Because you have to be complicit in the evil. If you're working for them, you're in it. You don't get to say, no, I'm not charging this person with crimes they didn't commit. That's wrong. It don't work like that. You file the fucking paperwork, you get the magistrate to sign it, and you arrest the person. It's as simple as that. See, that's the thing. You're either on this side or you're on their side. There's no in between. You can't play both fucking teams. You're either for the community or you're for the sheriff's department. Plain and simple. I don't care if it's a DSS worker, it's still on that side. That's still the government. It's us and them. Plain and simple. I didn't want to ever feel like that, but hell, they did it. They did it. That was your fault. Charged me with more motherfucking crimes that I didn't commit. You did it. I almost want to leave a bad review on that Planet Fitness just so they'll have my fucking screen name and they can go look at all the videos. Remember? She said, oh, we can't have you filming because Alex said that you filmed him and put him on TikTok. First of all, bitch, I ain't put nothing on TikTok in a year. I think I got 2 videos on TikTok from when I first started this fucking channel. Second of all, I don't even have TikTok on my fucking phone, so that tells me how stupid you are. Third of all, I have the legal fucking right to film anybody in a public fucking space, you dumb fuck. Planet Fitness own policy states that I can. Now, that policy also states that if a manager or a worker tells me to stop, that I have to, which I did. I went and got my shit and got the fuck out of there because I knew they was nitpicking with me over nothing. I mean, just fucking look at them. Just look at them. Like, come on, man. Don't be naive. Any bitch named Treasure should tell you all you fucking need to know. Unbelievable. That's a strip club name. Can I just say, like, I feel bad for people. Your mama did you dirty like that. Okay, I thought my name was bad. No, bitch. Treasure? Oh, God. It's like Precious. And them always be the ones that are the worst. They the wildest, the craziest. Like, y'all, it's like preacher's kids. You know what I mean? Yo. I'm not, though. I'm going to wait till court, and then I'm going to fucking pull out that fucking video. And, oh, I hope you have a copy of this. Dumb fucks. You know I'm a 2-time fucking felon for assault, but yet you're gonna chase me around a gym, trying to antagonize me, trying to say whatever you can to piss me off. Then you threaten to whoop my ass, and I still walk out of there and go to jail. So I did all the right things and still went to jail. I'm just glad that I got it on camera. I'm glad that I'm living through this so that people can see what it's actually like trying to do the right things and doing the right things. I did the right thing. There was a smile on my fucking face the whole time this bitch is in my face antagonizing me. I knew what it was. This ain't my first fucking rodeo. I've had bitches in my face antagonizing me my whole fucking life over jealousy. High school, middle school. I remember being in high school and having teachers that were jealous of me. Adults treating me poorly in high school because I was white. Don't talk to me about motherfucking racism when I grew up as a minority, bitch. I was the only motherfucking white person in school. We had 11 people that were white out of 2,000 students. One of them got killed on campus my freshman year, which is why I got a gun. But, you know, shit was wild back then. That was the early 2000s. It was completely different than school life today. And I think that shit's gotten worse, actually. I think that kids have to go through a lot more now than they used to with social media. I would have rather lived in no other time, though. I remember that gun. It just went missing. I had like a hiding spot for it because I was in foster care. I was actually in a group home when I lived out there. And I bought it from somebody at school, but like not on school campus. We were at this party and this guy had like 2 or 3 guns and yeah. But anyways, I used to hide it somewhere. And then like 6 months after I bought it, it went missing. Like it was in a bag and I had it hid out in the elements. Somebody found that gun and kept it. After Joseph died on campus, I was terrified. And we used to have these we used to sneak away and go down to the school, to the mall, because there was a mall right in behind the high school. And anytime I would go to the mall, I would have to have it because I was terrified. Like, there was girls that had been picked up and abused, you know, high schoolers that would walk from the high school to the mall, and they had been picked up and assaulted. And then the guy got killed on campus, and the Bloods and the Crips back in the day, that was a whole motherfucking thing. Tell me how I know. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, let me see your hand. And we started doing the handshakes. I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe it. I guess muscle memory. You can just remember all the fucking blood handshakes. What? Like, oh God. Imagine a bunch of high schoolers on the football field with a bonfire throwing up fucking gang signs, doing gang handshakes and shit. That was my childhood. I don't know what yours was, but learning the fucking Bloods and the Crips and learning how to separate myself from the rival gangs in the school were wild. Like, so there was a football player that he ended up going to be a star quarterback for Duke. I think his name was Dion. I don't remember. Yes, Dion. Anyways, I tried to stay in that clique because I knew that the ones that played sports were not involved in gangs. But it's still hard because, like, you would have, like, a class with somebody like, say I had like a math class. I remember this one guy I had a math class with that was cool. He sat right beside me, but he was in the Bloods, and I would talk to him during my math class. But then say I went to lunch after, and people had saw me in class talking to this Blood. People were going to say something about me talking to a Blood when most of my friends were Crips. Like, it was a problem. You had to be very careful, because them kids back then, they'd whoop your ass for just talking to somebody of the opposite gang. They would say that you weren't being loyal, and I wasn't even part of the gang. I wasn't even in the gang. I never was in that fucking gang. It's so stupid, honestly, in my opinion. But it's just crazy how stuff was back then. But it's part of being real, and I get that now. Like, it's not okay to be fake like that and act like you're for everybody when you're not. And Matt, I've got to clean out the truck. I have to start loading everything up. What I think I'm going to do is take that yellow container and put my pots and pans in there. It's on the bottom, but I don't have the stove yet. So when I get the stove, then I'm surviving through the days past. So stupid. I ain't had these problems since damn 2016. You know, when I got caught with heroin, it was easy breezy. That was High Point. They were so good to me. And they said, Lord, what are you doing out here, honey? I said I was buying dope. And take you completely off probation. Ain't that wild? There was dudes in there for probation violation for serious gun charges. And they just let them fuckers leave. They said, Merry Christmas. We know you're all in violation of probation and that y'all should all be going to prison. But we don't have room, bitches, so good luck to you. About 300 or 400 of us down in High Point. Damn this thing. And when they put you on probation, you immediately have to take a drug test. Now, typically you can fail 1 or 2 drug tests before they activate your sentence. And the prison system has drug addicts. No, the fuck they don't. They're lying to you guys. It's lies. I've been through them. Juvenile till adult, it's lies. There is no drug treatment in prison. They don't even have, the educators that they have are not even smart enough to. I wonder how much federal treatment, soft and clean, that's money. I'm kind of liking the pale skin. It's different. It's hitting different, you know? I look different. Some guy at the store the other day is like, how do you still have a tan in October? People get on my nerves. So weird. Yeah, and bitches at work used to be so jealous because they so pale. And they'd be like, oh, you know that's bad for your skin. It's going to age you. Bitch, where? I'm almost 40 and I still look better than you. Shut the fuck up, Brenda. Yo Gumby looking ass. Goddamn look like Baby Ruth from fucking Goonies. Shut up. Like, hating ass bitch. Bitch, where? Imagine being almost 20 years older than most strippers and still doing it better. Sad world we live in. I thought things were supposed to get better with time, not worse. Not worse. And hell, these hoes nowadays, they ain't even got a person. Stupid. Stuck on stupid. Don't know how to have a conversation. They got no personality. Let's go get some breakfast. Hopefully, maybe. Oh shit, I'm dropping shit. Y'all, look at how raggedy I look. What is that? It's the only socks I can find. Shut up. Don't judge me. Let me cut the Wi-Fi on so that it works. Yes, I'm on my way. I'm on. I had to go get gas. I was out of gas. Yes, I'm on my way. Stuck on you. My hair looks so much better. 10 out of 10 this time. I nailed it. Multiple layers of like 20. I take it from the front and then I trim it and then I do like 20 different layers back to back to back. Oh, I need to wash my hands. Eggs with cheese. It needs some. Gotta have some ketchup on the eggs. Bakey, bakey. Love me a good breakfast taco. That's mine, by the way. I would never do that if I was living with multiple people. You know what I mean? Drinking out of the thing. I only done it because it's mine. I'm gonna drink a little bit of this yogurt, see if it makes me feel better. I still feel like super weak, heavy all the time. Holy shit. Well, at least Bay's still clean. For now. Eyes in the sticks. All of them. Oh, burr. It's cold. Why? God. Burr. God, excuse me. I'm exercising demon. Florida. Hell, at least they leave me alone. The only time I ever had a problem was at Neptune Beach. They don't like van lifers out there. That's like richest part of Jacksonville is like, well, it's one of them. Neptune Beach, Florida, which is in Jacksonville, Florida, is a very like white liberal area, unfortunately. Most of northern Jacksonville is Republicans that I met. Now, you have the younger generation that are coming out of the universities, of course, that are brainwashed. But other than that, like the people that are retired and the people that, you know, have lived there for years, most of them historically are Republican. But it's one of those things with the upcoming generation. I wonder how long DeSantis can keep that state a red state, because I've met tons of people in Jacksonville. I used to run a bar there, and all those kids that were coming out of the universities, North Florida State, they're brainwashed. That's one of the reasons that I chose not to go to school there. When they said that I had to take out a $58,000 fucking loan when I already had more than enough money to go to school through financial aid, I said, what the fuck? What is wrong with y'all? I said, it ain't happening. That's when I knew. And not only that, I remember when I was going, I had to go and like fill out my stuff on campus. I remember how they didn't help me. The advisors didn't even know how to do their jobs in the school. Florida State at Jacksonville. The advisors were uneducated. If you're a student advisor, your job is to know about jobs. Yeah, see, that's how that works. When I come to you and I say, hey, well, if I finish this 2-year, what am I going to be able to do with this? Your job as a student advisor is to tell me what jobs I'll qualify for. That's what a student advisor does. They do lots of things, but that's one of them. But that's something that I've noticed in recent years, that student advisors, they don't know. You ask them, well, if I get this welding certificate, what will I be able to do with this? I don't know. Well, baby, maybe you need to be working at McDonald's and not a university, because that's actually in your job description, to help me help myself when I am signing up, applying, getting into school, picking out my classes, going through policy and procedure to pay for all of this. It is literally your fucking job to tell me how to help myself. Student advisors don't know how to do this anymore. They don't even know how to. I remember when I was picking out my online courses, she didn't even know which ones I needed. There's specific classes that you have to create specific degrees and graduate with specific credits. I remember that they didn't know which math class I needed at some point. And it was like a whole week, 2 week, this woman trying to figure it out. And, you know, that is your job. And this was the lady that was helping me pick out my classes, which is what she does every day. I just don't understand how they're asking for hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, they're asking students to take out hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans, and these fucking universities don't even know how to do their jobs. They don't know what's going on. We got people graduating in damn 4-year degrees of critical race theory. Like, what? Y'all just make up shit now? What job you gonna do with that? What does that even qualify you for? So create more racism? That's what you're going to do? Create more racism with that fake-ass racist degree? Make it make sense, y'all. I don't know. I hope my kids go to community college the smart way. We got a while for that, but still. Even schools like Chapel Hill, it's a shithole. UNC Chapel Hill used to be the best hospital in the state. They were known all over the world for, let's see what they were known for. I've actually met doctors and nurses who moved to a whole nother area to get away from this hospital because that's how bad it is. And y'all know I went there. And they put me on Xanax. So that tells you all you need to know. The last thing that a person in recovery needs is drugs. So it's known as a surgical hospital, but there's more to it than that. There's been a lot of shit that's went down there recently, especially on their mental health wards. They were locking people back and family members couldn't find their children. Like, imagine, you send your kid off to college, you try to call your kid to check on them, and they're missing. And then you find out that North Carolina, that UNC has took it amongst themselves to throw them in a mental hospital because they were having a little bit of fucking anxiety during final term, like during their testing. I mean, it's just crazy to think about, but ooh, this is interesting. So this past January, the University of North Carolina agreed to pay $4.8 million to an anti-affirmative action group after losing a Supreme Court challenge to the school's consideration of race in student admissions. Now, I had read somewhere that they were discriminating against white people, but I could be wrong. Hold on. Ooh, what is this? Here's another one. Y'all, they got more lawsuits than they got positive stories. So it says UNC Healthcare Chatham Hospital agreed to pay $49,000 for allegedly violating patient dumping statute by failing to provide appropriate medical screening examination on March 1st of 24. These are all recent. It's not a coinky-dink. It comes from the hospital not being ran properly on the inside. People in positions of power that don't know how to do their jobs. And one can only assume that it's also because of DEI. But what do I know? So it says, the settlement agreement resolves allegations that the Chatham violated the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act when it failed to provide an appropriate medical screening examination. They failed to provide appropriate medical attention, screening, examination, with the capabilities of its staff and facility. A 62-year-old patient who presented to the Chatham's emergency room via the Emergency Medical Services, EMS, so it looks like this patient who was 62 had cardiovascular issues, and the EMS notified the hospital on transport. The hospital stated they did not have a cardiologist available and could not manage the patient. EMS continued to transport to the hospital. Upon arrival at the hospital, the EMS was met by an ambulance at the bay by Chatham's nursing employee. An exchange occurred between the EMS and the nursing employee. The EMS left the hospital. So essentially, this woman needed to see a heart doctor, it sounds like, and the hospital didn't have one, and so it was a mess. Jesus Christ. They've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Jesus fucking Christ. So at what point do we shut the whole goddamn hospital down? How many people have to die before we shut the whole motherfucker down? These are all lawsuits this year. This year. I told you guys, y'all, I told you guys it was hell. I told you guys that I felt like there was a lot of medical mispractice going on when I stayed for a week at the hospital in UNC Chapel Hill last year. So let's look at this one. UNC Healthcare to pay this was back in March of this year. This was a different lawsuit. I just don't understand how people see shit like this. I mean, there's clearly 7 fucking lawsuits this year. I wonder how many there was last year, the year before that, the year before that. I bet you if we go back and we look from 2019 to this year, every year, I bet these cases doubled every fucking year. I mean, and nobody thought to say, hey, maybe we need to shut this bitch down and start from scratch. Maybe we need a new coordinator or whatever the fuck they are, whoever is over the hospital. So it says UNC Health to pay $1.1 million in attorney's fees in biased lawsuit. Sight impaired patients won a combined attorney's fee award of 1.1 against the University of North Carolina Health System in a Disability Discrimination Act. What color were they? I'm just saying. Have to ask. You gotta ask. So, some guy named Timothy Miles, he runs the National Federation for Blind People and Disabled. He's the one that actually brought up the lawsuit against UNC Chapel Hill, claiming that they discriminated against people. I mean, and this is a hospital. So when we're talking about people being discriminated against, you're talking about medical malpractice because they're at the hospital to get treatment and they're not getting the treatment. Imagine going to a hospital saying, I need help, and them not helping you. So it says the UNC healthcare system will pay $125,000 in damages to admit to violating federal disability rights to settle legal claims by blind patients. That's the same one, but still, it don't make it no better. I mean, and I know these types of things happen, but this is a lot more. This, to have 7 lawsuits in a fucking year. Hello? When are we sending the government in to start investigating? Here's another one. UNC Rex Healthcare agreed to pay $2.2 million for allegedly violating civil monetary penalties law by paying remuneration in the form of excessive salary and bonus payments. Oh no, not doctors being paid off. After its self-disclosed conduct to the OIG, Rex Hospital, included by UNC Rex Healthcare North Carolina, agreed to pay $2,277,000 for allegedly violating monetary penalty laws provisions applicable to physician self-referrals and kickbacks. Rex disclosed that it's leased an employed physician from a community hospital for the provision of cardiology services at the community hospital. Why don't y'all got this? Y'all, just to be clear, this is a huge hospital. This hospital covers like 8 city blocks. It's not one little hospital. This is down near Raleigh in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where I was born. I was born in Orange County. I was born in this hospital. Used to be the best hospital in the state. People would die to go to that hospital to get treatment there. And they don't even have a fucking cardiology department or a cardiologist. Like, so they were contracting and this fucker was getting kickback somehow. It says the OIG contends that during this time, the community hospital paid Rex a fee for the lease of the physician, and Rex paid the physician's salary and bonus payments to the cardiology services performed by the physician at the community hospital. OIG alleges that Rex offered and paid remuneration in the form of salary and bonus payments to the physicians that were in excess of the community hospital's lease fee to Rex that should have been paid to the community hospital. So he was over here committing fraud. No wonder you don't damn get good health care anymore. These doctors are all damn wrapped up in shit they shouldn't be. So the only prior lawsuit prior to these previous these that happened this year was in 2016. So in 2016, there was a Simone and UNC Healthcare. Solomon. So it says in his proposed complaint, plaintiff's name as the sole defendant. Hold on. What is this? Okay, so the defendant is, okay, so the plaintiff was Patrick Solomon, and the defendant was UNC Healthcare. This man sued UNC back in 2019 for more than $200,000. So it says, the plaintiff in May of 2015 at the Wakebrook Behavioral Health Facility in Sunnybrook Road in Raleigh. That's the drug rehab. Oh, God. That was Acorn. Sorry. Acorn fell off the tree and hit my truck. That's their rehab. That's the rehab that I was telling you guys about. What did he say? Sunnybrook Lane? Let's look this up. Rehab. I think that's the rehab in Chapel Hill, you guys, that I was at. The state-ran facility that I told you about that was a shithole. Yes! Sunnybrook Rehabilitation. Oh, my God! I'm so this is the fucking rehab that I told you about, that it's horrible. It's a state-ran facility. Look at this. This man sued them. Listen to this. Listen. The plaintiff alleges that although he was cooperative with staff and the doctors during his evaluations, he was forced after 3 days to take medication for no reason, and a diagnosis for him was fabricated. You know, it's kind of crazy that this happened in 2019 before Farm took over this hospital. Big Farm really become a big thing, in my opinion, with the left being in office. And you've seen it branch out like wildfire into hospitals, doctors' offices, like, I mean, everywhere. Everywhere is trying to get you on drugs now. Pills, Big Farm. This is crazy because this man was in rehab. I know exactly. I mean, in my opinion, let's see if it says, because I think that they put him on Suboxone because that's their drug of choice at that facility. That's what they do. They get you in, they wait 72 hours, and then they start giving you Suboxone. I've been through this place several times. It's a shithole with staff that don't know how to do their jobs, doctors who don't care to do their jobs. And this man is alleging that he did not want to take the Suboxone, and for some reason they forced him to after 3 days, and then they fabricated a diagnosis for him on paperwork. Do you know how scary that is? Let me tell you something. Let me explain something to you. What if a doctor put you on schizophrenia medication and then fabricated that you had schizophrenia, bitch? Do you know what that would do to you? When the cops show up, you're going to a mental ward because it's on paperwork that you're schizophrenic. That is scary. I never even thought about that being that scary, but that is extremely scary. So his further allegations that in making the decision to medicate him in spite, doctors' notes showing that he should have been released with no diagnosis were suppressed. So these motherfuckers are just shoving people full of drugs and making up fucking excuses, writing it down on paperwork and calling them crazy. I told y'all. I told you this last year, remember? Go back and look. I alleged this last year. So it says he also alleges that he should have not been admitted in the first place because he lacked a pre-existing mental illness, as North Carolina law reportedly requires for involuntary. He was involuntarily committed? Oh my God. How fucking scary. Imagine, bitch, you're at work, okay? You're at work and you're having a bad day and you say, God, I just wish I was dead and out of this job. And your boss calls the cops, and the cops show up, and they ask you if you got thoughts of killing yourself, and you just say that you're a little depressed and suffering with some anxiety because of bills. They involuntarily commit you, and then start stuffing you full of fucking drugs. The plaintiff asserts that the harm he has suffered, and listen, for any normal person to go into a place like this, you won't be able to handle it. You'll fucking break and crumble and cry, and you'll shit your pants. I have no doubt that he suffered mental anguish, anxiety flares, stress, headaches, excessive thinking, and mental abuse. I have no doubt. I've been in these places. I know what they're like. I have no doubt that he probably is going to suffer with PTSD for the rest of his life from a fucking 3-day stay in a mental ward. So it says, in addition to the claims in his original proposed complaint for legal detainment and medical malpractice, plaintiff purports to assert claims for violations of the First Amendment by suppression of the doctor's notes, slander, and libel. He seeks $4 million in damages and a trial by jury. Jesus Christ, did he win the money? I hope he won the money. And they said that he was entitled to relief, so he won his money. Good. Poor guy. I'm getting chill bumps because I've been there. And it's just, if you don't have money, you can't defend yourself in these situations. Thank God it seems like this guy had people that rallied around him and went to bat for him. He may have even had, I mean, obviously, when you're suing, that's the fucking, bitch, that's a federal lawsuit. Hello. You're going to have some cash. Okay, we're talking $100,000 just to get you started. Like, so I'm glad that he received that money. Here's another one. 2018. I mean, I just don't understand why there's not investigations going on. I don't understand why they're not. This was over personal information. They breached information of thousands of people that was exposed in January data breach. A proposed federal class action. Lee Jacobs alleged that the UNC Health Southeastern Hospital breached their duties under common law HIPAA. So they violated HIPAA law. Now, HIPAA law, if you don't know what HIPAA is, let me just tell you what it is. It pretty much, if I'm a nurse and you're a patient and you got the gonorrhea herpelitis, I'm not allowed by law, by HIPAA law, I'm not allowed to tell anyone your personal information, your medical records, if you even stayed at the hospital. Bitch, I can't even speak your name. It's covered under HIPAA. But let's find out what HIPAA is exactly. I know that's a law, HIPAA law, it's a confidentiality law. The purpose of HIPAA's goals include reducing healthcare fraud and abuse and improving the efficiency and effectiveness of the healthcare system. HIPAA applies to healthcare facilities, private offices, health plans, billing companies, and electronic medical record companies. This would also include your insurance. What else is covered under HIPAA? Mental health, like everything. Anything medical, anything insurance-wise is going to be covered under HIPAA. And so the Office for Civil Rights, the OCR, my dyslexia, within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the HHS, enforces HIPAA. And it says HIPAA gives patients rights to their health information. HIPAA does not preempt state laws that are necessary to prevent fraud and abuse, to assure appropriate state regulation of insurance or health plans. So essentially, information exposed in the breach may have included names, addresses, phone numbers, dates of birth, social security numbers, provider names, dates of service. This was in 2016 where they were sued for breaching HIPAA. Oh, here's another lawsuit this year. UNC Chapel Hill. Wow. Let's see how quick you can go from a great facility, great hospital with great doctors to a shitty one. That quick. That's what happened. When I went to Franklin Street last winter, it was nothing but Palestinian flags littered up and down the fucking streets of shops. Crazy. So it says hospital graduate medical education in post-Chevron lawsuit. This was posted July 15th of this year. Academic healthcare systems are targeting graduate medical education funding in the new lawsuit. I gotta pay to read. I'm not paying to read. Well, there's another one. In April of 2020, Dr. Shingleton filed a lawsuit against the state of North Carolina to challenge the constitutionality of the state's certificate of need, the con law. What is the con law? The law requires a medical entity to get formal approval from the Department of Health and Human Services before expanding bed space or using expensive equipment. What? Bitch, if I'm bleeding out and you got to call damn DSS to figure out if you should save me, you probably don't need to be a hospital. What the fuck is going on in the world? I just don't understand, you guys. The law requires a medical entity. Oh, hold on. Dr. Shingleton wanted to offer outpatient services at his center, but the state determined that there was no need for them in the area for 2 years. He was forced to perform most of his surgeries at the local hospital instead. Dr. Shingleton argued that the state could not show that preventing him from running a surgery program increased access to safe and affordable surgeries. He also alleged that the law could be unconstitutional in all of its applications. Absolutely. It's a fucking hospital. They're showing up for help. So he's saying that he should have had a better quality office to perform these procedures, but he was forced to come into the hospital, jump through their fucking hoops, and he's saying that not only were people fucking hurt, but people didn't receive the care that they needed. What happened with this? Hold on. Oh, it just happened 5 days ago. Doctor lawsuit tests constitutionally of how NC regards. So this just dropped. This is new. This just dropped 5 days ago, and it says that October. This is the doctor. Hello, cutie. This is the doctor. This came out October 23rd. So this took place in 2020. He filed this lawsuit in 2020, and it still ain't went in front of a superior federal judge. And I think that they're gonna deem it. Jay Shingleton is his name. He's the owner of a OPTHHALMOLOGY practice. Good luck with that. He has spent the last 4 years challenging a state law that caps the kinds of medical services offered in a region. Now the Shingleton Vision Center proprietor is at the center of the case that has the potential to upend how healthcare and hospital industries have done business in North Carolina for decades. This is how we get change. Like, the ophthalmologist, oh, is that it? Ophthalmologist, did I say it right the first time? Filed a lawsuit in April of 2020 contending that the North Carolina Certificate of Need, or the con law, has nothing to do with the safety of patients and is instead designed to protect established providers from competition. So, once again, it's about money. So his suit says that this is unconstitutional. The North Carolina Constitution prohibits monopolies and special privileges and protects Dr. Shingleton's right to provide safe, affordable eye surgeries to patients who need them free from blah, 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 blah. So this man was out here really doing the Lord's work, wanting to help people. And UNC Hospital essentially said, if you want to do this, you have to go through us, and we're not going to help you do it to benefit the patients. We're going to do it to benefit us. So on October 18th, the justice issued a ruling that essentially sends Shingleton's case back to the starting point. Poor guy. That means he's going to have to spend more money. This time, though, for a 3-judge panel to consider arguments that the certificate of the law violates the state constitution. So he says that this is a win for all of North Carolina patients. A public interest law firm that has taken up his case. Good for that. Good for that. We have now been given the opportunity to present our case and let the facts speak for themselves. Alleged facts that could undermine the certificate of need laws constitutionally far, I hope I'm saying that word, constitutionally far beyond the particular circumstances. The order adds, as Shingleton's attorneys noted in the briefs filing in the case, a ruling in the doctor's favor could open a gate to others seeking similar relief, essentially upending the law. Shingleton's initial complaint was rooted in the 1960s where there was a national movement by state and local governments to allocate federal funding to ensure financial visibility of taxpayer-funded hospitals. The state certificate of law has been a nearly constant source of legislative debate for over a decade. The federal government encouraged states to adopt certificate of need laws in the 1970s through the National Health Planning and Resource Developmental Act and suggested they create their own regulations, but the federal government abandoned their laws in the 1980s, and many states followed suit. Nevertheless, dozens of states still have laws on the books, and there's an active debate in academia on the effect such laws have on health economics. Whoa. Let's look that up. National Health Planning and Resources Developmental Act. National Planning and Resource Act. The law. What is this? The National Health Planning and Resource Developmental Act of 74 was signed into law to establish a national health planning system and improve access to health care. How'd that fucking work out? Doesn't sound like too great. So it says the act's purpose was to improve healthcare planning systems and address problems like unequal access to healthcare, rise in healthcare costs, and misdistribution of healthcare facilities. It might have been a good law if it worked. Oh, so that's why we don't have this law anymore, because y'all went big farm. States finding, hold on, number one, infusion of federal funds into the existing healthcare system has contributed to inflationary increases in the cost of health care and failed to produce an adequate supply of distribution of health resources. So the law didn't work. I wonder why. But it was supposed to be to like lower and make it more accessible for people. Damn it. So it says it was signed in 75 following a lengthy legislative struggle. During the past 11 months, the fighting among private and public healthcare interests has continued, although the principal arena has shifted from the Congress to the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, which is charged with primary responsibility for implementing the law. While the final estimate can already be made concerning the implication of this legislation for the poor, the article will not summarize the entire act, blah, 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 blah. So it's saying that this actually implications for the poor. From this analysis, suggestions will be made to assist legal services attorneys and their clients in devising local strategies to protect and advance the interest of the poor. It seems like this study that they did shows that this law actually hurt poor people. I could be wrong. That was written by Seattle University of Law. Let's see. Hurt the lower class. So it says, the National Health Planning and Resource Development Act of 74 had negative effects on the lower class, including insufficient investment. The government's payment system encouraged inefficient investment because it took the risk out of the process. Misdistribution of health care. There was a misdistribution of health care in facilities and manpower. There was an increasing and uncontrolled inflation of health care costs, particularly the costs associated with hospital stays. It says the National Healthcare Planning and Resource Development Act of 74 provided the development of guidelines for national health planning. Y'all think that the guidelines we have now are good? I don't know what fucking hospitals y'all been staying at, but my hospital experiences have been shit. The establishment of an area-wide and health planning agencies to deal with the needed planning for health services, manpower, and facilities. Oh, what, like a long-term treatment plan that you never get when you get out of rehab at a UNC hospital? And financial assistance. I mean, I don't doubt that some good things come out of this law, but it seems like now doctors are using it. Let's see. How, though? I don't understand how they're using it. I mean, this doctor just told me in a lawsuit, and I still don't get it. What was it called? The NHP. Doctors misusing the NAP, National, what was that? RDA. RDA. don't see how they can misuse that, but anyways. So this doctor, Shingleton, it says, Duke University economics Chris Conover wrote in a 2020 research paper that certificate of need laws cost the country hundreds of millions of dollars per year. These estimates are quite uncertain given that the literature on the con affects key outcomes such as mortality and spending is quite a mix. In North Carolina, the law was established to restrict unnecessary increases in healthcare costs by limiting the number of healthcare facilities and services based on geographic, demographic, and economic considerations, according to the State Division of Health and Human Services regulation. Who believes that? The fundamental premise, according to the State Department of Health and Human Services, premier on the law is that increasing healthcare costs may be controlled by governmental restrictions on unnecessary duplication of existing or approved healthcare services. Here's a thought. How about not charge $1,000 for a Tylenol? I just find it humorous that the hospital is saying, oh, we can cut these costs for you when they're the ones charging these astronomical prices for an ambulance ride. $1,600 damn dollars. And hell, now, how much is it now? That was pre-COVID, baby. How much is an ambulance ride in North Carolina? This says $400 to $1,000. Y'all, that's a bold-faced fucking lie. You go ahead and get you an ambulance ride and let me know how that $2,600 bill works out for you. Of course Google fucking lies. It says in 2020, a typical ride, and this is through GoodRx, was $940 to $1,300. That was in 2020. Google, you ain't worth a shit, you lying heifer. You lying heifer! So this says $1,200. Now she says $1,200. First she said $400 to $1,000. Now she says $1,200. How about we not trust the bitch because she's a lie. So I'm seeing anywhere from $1,100 to $1,500. Now, if you're going to be in, like, California, that's probably going to be double, bitch. So I find it humorous that the hospital is saying, oh, we want to help people, but they're the ones charging these astronomical prices. So it says, this is where Shingleton found himself in a situation that prompted him to seek relief from the courts in April of 2020. Shingleton wanted to offer outpatient surgeries at his center, but the state had determined that for the next 2 years, there was no such need in that geographical region. So instead, he had to perform most of his surgeries at East Carolina, the local hospital only 2 miles away. Unfortunately, Dr. Shingleton could not even start the costly and complicated con application process because of a formula put in place by state regulations that has already determined that his community does not need another surgery center. The Institute for Justice stated in a 2020 news release announcing the lawsuit, and without any need, all applications are automatically rejected. So what we have here is a state hospital with a doctor who saw potential for helping patients. He was denied access to spread his wings and fly because the state hospital wanted all patients coming through their hospital for money, in my opinion. In the lawsuit, Shingleton contends the state did not possess and could not produce any evidence that preventing the ophthalmologist from running a formal surgery program at the center actually increased access to safety, affordable surgeries in the Craven-Jones service area. So the hospital wanted complete control over that money they were seeing through him. Do you see what I'm saying? And this is how he was able to sue, because you need more than one ophthalmologist in any fucking city, first of all. One man cannot do all of that. Is that an eye doctor? I hope I'm saying that right. I live in a small town, and we probably have 5 or 6 different ophthalmologists here. This is a huge area that could have seen 5 or 6 of these doctors, and the hospital prevented him from spreading his wings and flying. His attorneys argue that if Shingleton had been permitted to run such a program, he could have been able to provide high-quality outpatient eye surgeries consistent with the standard of care and provided it at a more affordable rate than the hospital. There you go, Mr. Shingleton. You got a good heart, man. You got a good heart, and you want to actually help people, and you want to give them, access to safe, affordable health care. That was your fuck up, buddy. Remember, that was your fuck up. Wanting to help people and wanting to do the good things, that was your fuck up, because you're a cash cow to Chapel Hill. So, you're not allowed to spread your wings and fly, even though you're a peacock, babe. They gotta milk you for all your fucking worth. They're gonna take all your hard work, and they're gonna make money off of it. So it says, by impeding competition and imposing needless red tape, these laws increase the cost and reduce access to life-saving necessities like hospital beds, surgery facilities, and medical equipment. This is from his attorney, quote, government planners have no business telling entrepreneurs whether their services are needed. I concur. I told y'all that this hospital was a shit show. I didn't know it was this bad. So a North Carolina Healthcare Association, a powerful lobbying group for the state's hospitals, has touted the state's certificate of need laws as necessary to ensure access to care for medically underserved populations. In a 23 legislative brief, when the state lawmakers were contemplating making major changes to the Certificate of Need law as part of its agreement to expand the Medicaid program, the association wrote that repealing such laws, quote, has been proven to reduce access to care for rural and underserved patients, further widening disparities in care. I am so sick of the evil side acting like they give a fuck about people when it's only about money. And they just lie. Listen to that. It's a lie. You prevented a doctor who worked his ass off to become an eye doctor for, God, how many years? 10 years? Ain't that? I don't know. And when this man wanted to expand so that he could help tons of people and not just 1 or 2 a day, y'all told him no because y'all were so money hungry that y'all wanted him to stay in the hospital that he was at instead of giving him a nice office where he could actually help more patients. It's just crazy to think about how much they're willing to hurt people just to be able to have that money. I wonder how many patients saw So he actually sued the state in a federal lawsuit. He was able to do this. We now know that he was able to do this because he had a rally of lawyers come to his defense and say, this is crazy. If you want to help people, you should be allowed to help people. Just imagine wanting to help people and having to fight to be able to just help people. And it does. It says Dr. J. Shingleton argued that the requirement that regulators approve his ability to perform surgeries at his office violates his constitutional rights. Republican lawmakers and right-leaning think tanks have sought to reform or do away with certificate of need, replacing them with a free market forces. Once again, fucking Republicans out here fighting the good cause. Shit is way too regulated. All in the name of money. Crazy. 2 employees at UNC have brought a federal lawsuit against the hospital. I mean, it's just one after another, you guys. We could be here all damn day looking at all these lawsuits. And they started 2016. No coincidence. That's when, in my opinion, that was the start of everything. 2016. That's when I had everything go down with my daughter. That's when I recognized that people were losing their fucking minds, that the government and the police were in on it. It says, Raleigh employment lawyers are featured, blah, 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 blah. Hold on. 2 employees at the UNC Rex Healthcare Raleigh have brought a federal lawsuit against the hospital, alleging that they were denied promotions due to racial discrimination. I wonder what shade of white they are. Quote, oversaw and enabled a system of racial discrimination in the home care department that resulted in African Americans being regularly passed over for management positions in far less qualified white candidates. Okay, so it was backwards. Sorry. When was this? 2020. So this makes sense. Now it's the opposite though. Unless you're Chinese, black, Hispanic, something else, you just don't even get accepted into this school anymore. Wow, 3 years. I mean, just 4 years, just that quick. You went to discriminating against blacks to discriminating against whites. Like, how about you just not discriminate at all, and maybe you guys can stay the fuck up out of court? How about treat everybody the same damn way, and y'all won't be in court with federal lawsuits? It's just fucking unbelievable. Wasn't it Chapel Hill that discriminated against them white people at school this past year? I'm pretty sure. Discrimination against whites at UNC Chapel Hill. Yes. The University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill has faced allegation of discriminations against white and Asian students in its admission process. Now, this was a whole thing. This was all over the local news and the news, the world news. How stupid. So first you discriminate against blacks. They sue your ass. George Floyd dies. The world goes crazy. And then you jump on the let's hate whites bandwagon and Asians and start discriminating against whites and Asians. Like, tell me you're stupid without telling me. Now, and they receive federal funding. Fuck that. Snatch it all. Snatch it all. The hospital, the college, snatch it all and see how quick they learn to act right. It's a damn shame what this hospital has become. I wonder how many people have been victimized. Their rights trampled on because they didn't have the money to do anything about it. I know how I was fucking treated. I was the only motherfucking sane person in a hospital full of thousands of people. They're trying to put me on Xanax. Bitch, I'm in recovery. The last thing I need is fucking Xanax. The last time I was on Xanax, I stabbed 2 people. And I tell them this. I said, whoa, wait a second. See, what happened is I'm already a double felon for 2 counts of almost attempted fucking murder. I don't need Xanax. And I had 7 doctors, at least 7, look me in the face and say, no, you're going to take this. This is what's best for you. Thank God that I'm strong-willed and I know that I want to be clean. I took the medication for 4 or 5 days. I don't remember shit. Apparently I had a seizure. They had to give me they had to put me in the tube to make sure my brain was okay because I had a fucking seizure on Xanax in the hospital. I know this because in my drug-induced state, I wrote about it. I got the notes. I don't remember it. But it's listed as a scan, so I know that it happened because they charged me to make sure that I wasn't going to, I guess, have a fucking aneurysm and die. What is that called? A CAT scan? So I know that the seizure happened because they gave me a scan. when they found my dead body on the fucking ground or whatever happened. I don't even know what happened. Yes, it's called a CT scan for seizures. A CT scan can reveal structural details of the brain, but it cannot always confirm that a seizure has occurred or that someone has epilepsy. This was day 4 or 5 of the medication. I dropped and had a seizure in front of people, and they rushed me to downstairs to a CT. The following morning, because I'd had the scan, my meds had not been given to me yet for some reason. And I remember saying in that moment, like, I finally came to. And I'm like, why am I not upstairs with everybody else? Like, why am I down here in a fucking tube getting CT scan? And she said, you had a seizure. And I said, what? And she's like, yeah, don't worry, you're fine. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, okay. And she's like, we're headed back upstairs. She's like, are you hungry? And I'm like, yes, I'm starving. We get back upstairs, and I went to my room. I remember changing my shirt. I remember looking at those fucking notes. And I realized that it was like the end of the week. Well, the last thing I remembered, it was like a Saturday night. How is it already past Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday? And she come to my room and she said, you need to come take your meds. And I said, I got to the window and I said, what is this? And they told me it was Xanax. It was 2 other mental health meds. I don't remember. Lithium? Seroquel? I know it was Seroquel. Anyways, I refused. I said, I don't want this shit. And she's like, no, you have to take it. And I said, bitch, I just got out of a CT scanner for a fucking seizure. I don't think y'all know what y'all are fucking doing around here. I left the very next day. That was my mental health experience at Chapel Hill for anxiety and depression. And let me tell you something, bitch. Let me tell you something. You know what I was going through? It's called betrayal trauma. It's when you've been, I don't even know how to explain it. You've had everything stolen from you. I've already fucking explained it. It's a huge thing. It's called betrayal trauma. Imagine that you're a man. You've been overseas for a year on a deployment. You come home and your wife is shacked up with somebody else and she done spent all the fucking home money. That's called betrayal trauma. That can cause some people to lose their mind for the rest of their life. There have been patients that have completely went off the deep end, psychologically speaking, and they never come back. Any doctor, any medical professional, when I told them what I was going through, that I'd been evicted out of my own home, that I'd had all of my money stolen, when I said that I was a victim of this, and this, they should have knew immediately why I was depressed. They should have knew immediately why I was going through anxiety. They didn't do that. They put me on fucking mental health meds, and they told me to shut up about it. And when I said, I'm in recovery, I can't take Xanax, they said, we are advising you to stay on the medication. And I said, I drive a 1/2-ton fucking big old black tank. I'm going to kill somebody driving. They said, stay on the medication. Imagine a medical professional telling someone that they are better off high than sober and functioning. Scary, but it's true. I have no reason to fucking lie to you, and I've said the same goddamn thing since I got out that motherfucker. Here's another one back in the day where hospital staff were falsifying records. I mean, who needs enemies when you got the corrupt fucking nurses over here falsifying your medical records so that you get locked up for shit? They're like, you're schizophrenic. You're like, no, I've just got anxiety. They're going to carry you off anyways, bitch, because your paperwork says schizophrenic. So they're not going to believe a goddamn word you're saying, and you're going to be strapped to a motherfucking bed getting shots. So it says, days after her 21st birthday, back in March of 23, Mo Hatcher found herself short of breath, dizzy, and feeling helpless as what she describes a minor inconvenience to most people, but major events for her. She had a history of anxiety, panic attacks, more frequent and intense at times, feeling like a heart attack. 20? Babe, did you get that vaccine? Hatcher said her parents... Hatcher asked her parents to take her to the hospital, a psychiatric facility near her home, so she could gain better control of her anxiety. So you're going in for anxiety, and they are putting you on severe mental health drugs. Let's just see what happened. So it says the reasons for her admission written on her paperwork, her discharge summary from the hospital, includes a shorthand sentence that says, quote, suicidal ideation with a plan, history of substance abuse via overdoses on pills and substance abuse. What? So because this woman is going through severe anxiety, you think she's on methamphetamine? Does this not sound familiar? Trauma that looks like drug use? Mania. What the fuck? I mean, I just don't understand how you could just... I mean, that is medical malpractice. I want to be clear. For someone who has anxiety to go into a mental ward and the nurses say, oh, they have a suicidal ideation plan with a history of substance abuse overdoses, and there's no history of that, that's medical malpractice. And not only is that lies, but that is like setting the stage. What the fuck were they planning? Why would you write why would you lie on paperwork unless you're planning something? Unless you're worried about the future? It sounds... So she did overdose on drugs. Over 5 years prior, though. She says, quote, that's the part that makes me unsettled with all of it. An intake worker at the hospital had asked about feeling suicidal, and I obviously told her no. Obviously, knowing where I was going into, I made it a point to say no, that's definitely not how I feel right now or anything along those lines. So because of the fact that she knew she was going into this mental ward, she made it a point to be very clear that she was not feeling suicidal. The biggest reason I was there was because of my anxiety and my panic attacks. What did I tell you? Hatcher's experience is not that surprising to some of the former employees at this hospital, including several who told NC Healthcare News that they quit in part due to what they perceived and described as unethical practices in the hospital. Can we get a round of applause for whoever quit? Thank you. That's what we need to make change, baby. If all of you fuckers quit, I can promise you one thing. The state is going to shush in, do an investigation, and clean some shit up real quick. They have to have those hospitals open to take care of patients. If all of you fuckers quit, a lot of shit will change. Go on strike. That's what y'all need to do. That's the ethical thing to do. One of those practices, they allege, included documenting more severe diagnoses for patients to make them appear sicker than they were. What did I say? They are plotting a plan for the future to gain control over patients. The reason that they write that shit is so the next time they come in, they can say, oh, we can lock them back and just ignore them and get them high on drugs because they have suicidal tendencies that never existed. A former hospital employee who reviewed patient records from 2017 to 2019 alleged that management told nurses to avoid documenting a patient's denial of suicidal or homicidal thoughts or hallucinations. If it was in the record, the former employee said that it would have to be reported to the insurance company. Once reported, the insurance company would stop paying. Whoa. 13 different nurses, former hospital employees who made allegation about what goes on behind locked doors of the facility include claims of unchecked violence, lack of mental health treatment. What did I tell you? I was just in a jail 2 weeks ago and I saw a fucking inmate getting waterboarded, so this does not shock me. I was also an inmate back in 2009 and I had 3 to 10 officers pull me into a holding cell, beat the hell out of me, and took turns tasing me. So I've experienced shit like this. Like, I know what goes on in these type of facilities, and jails and hospitals are one and the same, honey. It's the same thing. Same people, same crooked, same corruption, same sick motherfuckers. Most of the former employees who were interviewed alleged that the hospital engaged in record falsification. The majority of former staff, 12 out of the 13 interviewed, say they were instructed by management to falsify or exaggerate information in patient records or claim to have seen evidence of falsification in records. that they worked with. So fucking scary. Imagine going to the doctor for anxiety and they lock you in a fucking mental ward and say that you were going to kill yourself and other people. That's what happened. I mean, it's exactly what happened to this girl. Over insurance money. Ooh. The accounts of the staff who worked at the hospital between 2017 and 23 echo those made in 2016 by scores of former employees of other hospitals owned by the Universal Healthcare System, a publicly traded company headquartered in Pennsylvania. That's Medicaid, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just... Is Universal Healthcare Medicaid? No, it's not. But Medicaid... Hold on. It says, no, universal health care is not Medicaid, but Medicaid is a program that can be a building block for universal health care. So, AKA, yes, a system that ensures all residents, blah, 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 blah. Hold on, wait a second. Google, you lie so fucking much. They go hand in hand, you guys, and I know this because that's the insurance I have through Medicaid. Scary. Universal Health Services agreed in 2020 to pay $117 million to resolve multiple allegations against several of its hospitals for knowingly filing false claims for payment for behavioral services that were not necessary, nor were they appropriate to provide. Now, this was through the U.S. Department of Justice. They were the ones that said the hospital had to pay this money. In a case against the United Hospital that we just read about, former patients made claims of sexual and physical abuse as well as allegations of medical record falsification in Illinois and Virginia. In Illinois, the UHS affiliated facility was ordered to pay over $535 million in a negligence lawsuit following allegations of the sexual assault of a 13-year-old patient by another patient. The company's lawyer... This is crazy. Every state that the UHS is in, they've had multiple lawsuits. And I know it's a hospital. I know these things happen, but not at this rate, honey. Not at this rate. In my opinion, that shows that there's that we have a fallen, broken system in healthcare. I mean, it's no secret. Go to any hospital. Here's a different article on the same hospital. This says more than a dozen employees say short-staffed NC Psych hospital is rife with violence and abuse. It's the Bryan Marr Hospital. So there was a little boy named Henry who was 11 years old who picked up a sharp object and threatened to stab his mom. It said that Henry was on the spectrum. Henry had a lot of behavioral issues. He was taken to Bryan Marr. Nicole took him to the UNC Healthcare Emergency Room in Chapel Hill, where Henry was placed under an involuntary commitment, a legal tool used to mandate mental health treatment when a patient is considered a danger to themselves or anyone else. Instead of receiving intensive, specialized mental health care, Henry experienced dangerous conditions and little in the way of treatment. In her complaint, Nicole, the mother, good for you, girl, claims that Henry was sexually harassed and attacked by other patients. He's 11. He left the facility with an untreated concussion and received treatment for it at a specialized concussion clinic. Nicole isn't the only one to complain about this. Treatment provided by the privately owned psychiatric facility. How scary. The former employees depict a soul-crushing, understaffed work environment that caused at least one former staff member to have suicidal thoughts. Another says she has nightmares about her time working at the hospital. Every former employee interviewed by the NC Health News said that they would never recommend Brian Maher to someone in need of mental health care. More than 200 pages of records from the State Department of Health and Human Services in which regulators detailed violent incidents between patients. The records, which were heavily redacted and anonymized by the state, corresponded with the experiences former employees described. The records include an interview with a doctor who said that staff members are, quote, afraid to go on the units. In 2023, federal and state health regulators cited Brian Maher for failing to provide a safe and therapeutic environment. There was another 11-year-old girl that was sexually assaulted. Y'all. Imagine sending your kid to a hospital in hopes of getting them some kind of treatment for something minor like anxiety, minor behavioral issues, and then they're raped. You know, I mean, she gonna need 5-6 hospitals after that and years of fucking therapy. Like, it's just crazy. And I've been in these type of places since I was a kid, so I know what goes on in these facilities. And it has nothing to do with therapeutic and therapy and reform and teaching you how to even... I remember they don't even teach you how to control your emotions. They don't teach you how to process your thoughts or like... I don't know, man. So scary. So they've done had to pay out in the past since 2020, 117 and then 535. And all of this is from negligence, sexual assaults. Do not send your kid to damn, where is it? Brian Maher, M-A-R-R. I mean, it's just lawsuit after lawsuit since 2020. I bet there's been 2 dozens. That's crazy. I mean, I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was this bad. September 15th of 24. Victims of sexual abuse or sexual assault can file civil... Oh, never mind. I thought it was saying that well, you can. You can file a civil lawsuit against anyone, but it says if you're an adult now and you were assaulted by your teacher, you can sue that teacher for that abuse, is what this was saying. I thought that this was... Here it is. The North Carolina Supreme Court heard oral arguments this week in a collection of cases that are challenging a 2019 state law that gave victims of childhood sexual abuse 2 additional years to file. There should be no statute of limitations when we're talking about sex crimes and children. So a man in June of 24, a man is suing over alleged abuse as a teen by a Catholic missionary. Sorry, I'm trying to piece through the words. The diocese, I hope I'm saying that right. The diocese and Glen Mary Home missionaries argue that the Safe Child Act appeals only to perpetrators, not enablers. Only applies to perpetrators, not enablers. But the plaintiff contends this interpretation is flawed. His sex abuse lawyers argue that the law's language is clear and should include those who enable enable abuse, urging the court to reject the defendant's narrow reading. God. In May of 2024, the University of North Carolina School of the Arts has settled a school sex abuse lawsuit brought on by 65 alumni who alleged extensive sexual and emotional abuse spanning decades. The plaintiffs will receive a total of $12.5 million. That was through Chapel Hill. All of these listen to this. They had a lawsuit September 21st of 24, another one June 23rd of 24, another one May 20th of 2024, another one May 6th of 2024, another lawsuit May 1st of 2024. May 1st and May 6th is only 5 days apart, bitch. April 29th of 2024. All of these are lawsuits for sexual assault cases through Chapel Hill. So when we gonna get this motherfucker shut down? Because it needs to obviously be shut down. I mean, this is horrible. I know that hospitals have, their lawsuits. But honey, we're talking about, we've done read 30 that happened this year. And why are they not broadcasting this shit on the news? Because these just happened. How the UNC School of the Arts alumni made sex abuse public. Yeah, it should be public. People need to know where they're sending their kids. So the school is pissed that this lawsuit was made public. Here's another lady that was sexually assaulted at the hospital when she was trying to get a graduate degree at UNC Greensboro. I mean, how sad. Imagine being in school. I mean, some people can't go back to their normal life after an event like that. I mean, they just keep going on for page after page after page. Like, I could just have a whole channel devoted to damn UNC lawsuits. Here's another student. And RH has filed a $50 million lawsuit over sexual abuse at the hospital. A lot of these are sexual abuse charges, but also malpractice and in 2024, UNC paid out $4.8 to students for fair admissions and anti-affirmative action group after losing a case in the U.S. Supreme Court. Oh, that's the discrimination where they were discriminating against whites and Asians. That was recently. It was last year, or it was this year that it was settled. But it was filed in 23, the end, I do believe. Sick of sitting like this. My back starts to hurt. Oh, I need to go take a shower. So it says that their first lawsuit was filed in 2008 from what I'm seeing. And then it looks like that carried over to 2011. That was filed by former employees. That's the first lawsuit that I see is 2008, 2011. They were ordered to pay out $1.9 million to resolve allegations related to Clio whatever and procedures. And this was because they were settling allegations submitted to false claims for Medicare. So they were stealing money, scamming. That's fraud. Let's be real. Yes. So the lawsuit was filed in a 2008 federal district court in Buffalo. That's not it then. No, it says North Carolina and it says UNC. So why was it filed in Buffalo? Maybe because it was a federal lawsuit, Brooke. I don't know. That's the first one that I can find. These medical malpractice suits did not get bad until 2020. That's when the lawsuits started. Like, one after a fucking another. I mean, they've got like 12 in proceedings right now. They're in litigation with like 12 different fucking lawsuits. It's no coincidence. You don't have one lawsuit in a history of 60 years, and then all of a sudden in 2019, it's a flip of a fucking switch and you've got 100. That comes from internal issues, in my opinion. When was UNC Hospital originally built? 1952. And it was actually established in 52 under the name NC Memorial Hospital. Let's see what they had. NC Memorial Hospital lawsuits. I don't even see one under Memorial. Yeah, the one in September of 11, like I said, it's no coincidence that all of these lawsuits are taking place right after COVID. You can go look at the pattern, the probability, the history, and make a conclusion that this is because people are not getting educated like they should be. But also, society is getting dumber. So, people just don't have common sense like they used to. I feel like nursing is one of those things where it takes a lot of common sense to really know what a patient needs. But also, the initiative is lacking. Back in the day, women would go into nursing because they genuinely had this motherly instinct to them and they wanted to be helping others. We don't see that anymore. Bitches go into the field now for money. And their bedside manner is horrible. They're like little high schoolers on steroids. It's like the cool kids. If you don't, once again, when you're working in that environment, if you're not complicit, then you're going to be blacklisted. It's just like the sheriff's department. Either you're complicit in all of the negative shit that's going on, or you don't have a job. This is why we see people quitting and snitching. And I just, once again, round of applause for all of the nurses that quit and said absolutely not and brought up lawsuits against this hospital. That's how you receive change. That's how change is made. At first, you have to recognize the problem in order to fix it, honey. So it looks like the hospital violated, once again, patients' rights, common law. This was a common law tortice of evasion of privacy. That's the only one I see under Memorial Hospital before they changed their name to UNC Chapel Hill. So that's interesting to me. And these other damn 20, 30 lawsuits that they've got pending is very interesting too. Hell, at this rate, they done paid out damn, what is that, almost $1 billion this year? I mean, you would think they'd be broke, but of course not. Of course not. They've been scamming on patients for decades. Where'd that vape go? Oh, I'm about to run, you guys. I'm about to go in here and shower and shave and relax for a little while. Maybe I need to learn to sit the fuck down and stop spending so much money on gas. But honestly, I just be trying to get away because I get so bored just sitting and watching TV. Like, first of all, I'm not a TV person. Second of all, I like to be getting stuff done, you know, like I want to be out getting shit done. I do need to organize this truck today, so when the sun finally comes up, we're going to do that. I'll probably just fucking do it in the front yard so I got Wi-Fi and y'all can see oh, I got to go to storage first. I got to use the bathroom first. A bitch is like, stomach's hurting. Oh shit, I need keys. I'm going to lock myself out. Luckily, knock on wood, I have not locked myself out of this car yet. I've gotten more responsible. I used to lock my keys in the Nissan all the time. I pay attention. Thank God it don't have like no automatic light on it. Lock on it. Otherwise, I would have been screwed because I shut that door sometimes and my keys are in there. And the Nissan automatically used to lock. But anyways, take a gander at the horses before I go. And we'll talk. And that's their favorite tree. They usually sit down there. And in the summer when it's hot, they'll go under the branches of that tree. You see how he can fit all the way under there? We'll talk in a little while. I'm going to get ready for the day, I guess, at 10 a.m. I got up super early, but pray for me because God knows I need it. And I'm praying for you guys, and we'll talk later. Bye, y'all.